Good afternoon, welcome everyone. My name is Rachel Kramer and I'm the director of the Popular Music Conservatory here at Orange County School of the Arts. It is a pleasure to have all of you with us on a Friday. Today's event is part of our 5th annual Master Artist Series. This series brings acclaimed artists and industry professionals to OSHA to work with our talented students, building their skills and providing inspiration and guidance for their futures. This year, we have an impressive list of visiting guest artists, including Academy Award-winning costume designer Ruth E. Carter, trailblazing ballerina Misty Copeland, and Academy Award-winning screenwriter Kevin Wilmot. We are deeply grateful to our sponsors, Anonymous, Kent and Brandy Barkeros, the Bushala family, Farmers and Merchants Bank, the JE Foundation, Deb and Aaron Malo, the Macbeth Foundation, Maureen and Michael Mekjan, and the Sumbasakis family, Yamaha and Charlie and Ling Zhang. We'd like to extend a very special welcome to the Bushala family who are in the audience today. It is due to their, excuse me, my light just went out, give me a sec. Okay, it's due to their endless support and incredible generosity that this special experience has been made possible. In particular, a shout out to Popular Music Conservatory alumnus and friend Albert Bushala, here with us today, who is collaborating with our foundation team on making this year's Master Artist Series a great success. Albert's passion for music, networking, and for our conservatory has helped us make connections with many of the artists and arts leaders we've hosted this semester, including our special guest this afternoon. Albert, we're so grateful for your help, your leadership, your partnership. You help us continue to serve our mission, even in this virtual environment. We'd also like to express our gratitude for the special OSHA supporters joining us today. We're glad to have you all with us and appreciate your continued dedication to our school. Lastly, we'd also like to express our gratitude for our special guest. With us today, we have renowned drummer, multi-instrumentalist, composer, and recording producer Thomas Lang. Recognized as one of the world's greatest drummers, Mr. Lang has headlined virtually every major drum festival and toured across the world. He has extensive experience working with a wide variety of genres and with renowned artists such as Robert Fripp, Peter Gabriel, Robbie Williams, and Sugar Babes, and is the owner of drum and music-based school 9 Beats USA. We are extremely lucky to have Mr. Thomas Lang with us today for a performance demonstration, lecture, and a workshop with 3 current popular music student drummers, 7th grader Hank Braverman, 11th grader Thomas Murray, and popular music senior Thomas Lowry. We'll be concluding our time together with a short Q&A session. So students, if you have questions throughout the masterclass, please submit your questions for Mr. Lang in the Zoom chat function. We're looking forward to today's program and we hope you enjoy. Please join me in using your Zoom icons to help me welcome Mr. Thomas Lang.
Hey everybody, is everybody in the class? Just let me know if everybody has entered and joined. I see somebody skiing. That looks like fun. Okay, well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you for having me and giving me this platform and opportunity. Thank you, Albert, both Albert Senior and Junior, and Miad Bushala for making this possible, and Albert Junior. Thank you for all your hard work to get this organized. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure and honor to be here virtually for all of you. And this is, yes, a drumming masterclass slash clinic. I'm going to start out with a little bit of a performance, and I have a virtual setup here where you can see different camera angles. There's an overhead camera of my drum set. There's a foot camera. So for my performance and then for some of that teaching part, I'm going to switch to a four-way screen, so you can see everything and understand what's happening in regards of to independence and patterns I'm playing. So I'd like to start with a little bit of a performance. This is just a solo performance, and I'm going to build on a theme I'm going to talk a little bit about the performance after the fact, and then we're going to move on to some sort of educational parts of this clinic, talking about practicing, about achieving your goals, about creating a practice schedule and practice plan that works for everybody. So anyways, thank you all, and enjoy this little performance. I'm going to just mute this mic, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Hey there. Is everybody still here?
So, yes,
Okay.
so good, Thomas.
Oh,
We're
thank you,
so
thank you.
lucky to have you with us.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Um, I just want to say a couple of things about what I just played. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm building on a theme. So I just started from scratch. I had no clue, no plan other than to try and find some kind of a theme or a motif to work with, to elaborate on, and to develop during the course of this solo. So I basically just sat down, picked up the sticks, and the first thing that I played just intuitively was something like this. So those first couple of notes, the snare drum and the first rack tom, that interval, that became somewhat of a focus and a theme for me. And then followed by a string of notes that are pseudo melodic going down the tom toms like this. So this is a very simple mixed sticking pattern that is orchestrated melodically over the toms. And it was literally the first thing I played. And I just took that and started developing it, adding notes, playing very sort of standard um, variations, in a classical sense, and and changing the orchestration. So I used very sort of classical methods to develop a motif. Just like know it from classical music or jazz improvisation. So you take a fragment and then you look at it from different sides. You see, the different shapes and the different possibilities. And you can take a pattern like this and leave out some notes, or add notes and then start developing and comparing. So you observe what's happening and then, you look at it not from a performer point of view, but from a listener's point of view and think about what you could change to keep it interesting, to develop that idea, and then maybe to change, to flip the pattern around, to play a mirror image of a pattern, or like I said, increase the speed, or where you're orchestrating on the drum set. So instead of playing, I could play, using double strokes instead of single strokes, and basically uh, playing twice the amount of notes in the same pattern, making it a lot more dense, but keeping that general melodic idea going. Anyways, these are very, very conventional improvisational techniques, and also often used in classical music to develop a motif. So I took that as inspiration for the solo and then developed it and also changed the note rate at a later point in the solo. So instead of playing 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, I later played an ostinato with my left foot that was triplet based, that goes like this. This is the left foot pattern. And on top of that, I played a similar pattern, but in a triplet feel, with using the same melodic ideas. 3, 4. So again, that relates back to the very, very first thing I played. So it's important when you're performing like this and you're playing a solo performance, for example, to have something in mind, to have a motif in mind, something that keeps engaging the listener and keeps, drawing attention to what you're doing and what your plan is. A good performance always has a plan somewhere. It's great to improvise freely and be experimental, if you're at that level of technical ability. But in general, it's good to have some kind of an idea, some kind of a plan of approach, a theme, a motif, something you can develop, go back to, and always draw the listener back in. And you can choose anything as a motif or a theme. You could have a sound, as a motif, just a bell, for example. That could be my theme. I can do whatever I want over here as long as this keeps showing up, you know? It basically doesn't matter what I'm playing between that one particular theme. As long as this is a reoccurring theme, you know, people get drawn back in every single time. And you can choose different themes. You can choose a rhythmic phrase. You know, I could choose whatever. Dan ka dan ka dan. There it is. That could be a theme. You know, and you can develop that and turn it into a groove. Or double it up, play, you know, multiple sounds, or orchestration, you know, variation, etc. Anyways, I always try to have some kind of a plan of approach and a theme in mind, a concept, again, to always engage the listener, always keep it interesting and give them something to latch onto. You know, especially when you're playing some more complex music, it's a good idea to constantly re-engage the listener and draw them back in, give them something they can recognize and remember from earlier on in your performance and go, ah, there's that thing again. And every time it reappears, they go, oh, you know, that's deliberate. Here it is again. He clearly has a plan, you know. So, anyways, that's just to explain what I did in that early performance. If you guys have any questions or want to ask me anything about what I just played or just talked about, please feel free to put it in the messages here, right, Rachel? Is that possible? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm happy to answer any of your questions as they come in. So um, I want to talk a little bit about practicing. Okay, because that is the most important thing that we do as musicians. Because practicing is nothing else other than a form of learning. You know, we are conditioning ourselves to do things that we weren't able to do before. And in any area of expertise, not just in music and learning to play an instrument, this is a really important thing. And clearly, it can change your life if you have the ambition to learn something new every day and to develop and grow what you already know and add to it on a daily basis. And this is something that I've tried to do all my life. And I had a fantastic teacher when I first started playing. I was 4 years old, so very young. And I was very lucky to find an incredible educator in my hometown who was a classically trained musician and performing with the Viennese Philharmonic Orchestra, so a very accomplished musician and fantastic teacher. And again, much respect to all the teachers out there because his teaching and him showing me so early on what it means to practice correctly made a huge difference in my life, in my practicing and playing career, and really sort of set me on to the down the right path. And he channeled all my interest and curiosity in the right directions and kept inspiring me and motivating me to carry on and look for new things to learn. And he taught me what it means to practice, which is something that most people, or and especially musicians, never really learn. They just stumble upon sort of methods that work for them over time through trial and error, but most musicians never really learn how to practice until much later in their career when they've kind of developed their own systems. I was very lucky to have this teacher who taught me what it means to practice. And for the first few weeks, all we did was talk about practicing, what it means. I mean, again, I was four, very young, had no experience with any discipline or much determination or organization. So that was a really important part of learning for me, and it helped me learn much more efficiently further down the road. So the first thing you need to do is you need to define your goal. What is it that you want? What kind of a musician do you want to be? Let's talk about drums specifically, okay? But you can apply this to pretty much any area of expertise in life. So, what is your goal? What kind of drummer do you want to be? Or what kind of guitar player, whatever? What kind of athlete? What is your final destination? What is your goal? Do you want to be a jazz drummer? Do you want to be a metal drummer? Do you want to be a pop kind of touring drummer? Do you want to focus on live playing? Do you want to focus on recordings? All related and similar goals, but yet quite different in terms to your practice approach. Okay. So if you decide you want to be a jazz drummer, great. Then you look at what is it that separates you today from that goal? What's missing? Why aren't you already a jazz drummer? Okay. So, and then you make a list of all the things required to become a jazz drummer, to reach your goal. What is it that you can't do today that you want to do in the future? Then you make that list of things that you need to learn. You can't swing, you can't play brushes, and you don't know any real book or jazz standard repertoire. You've got three big problems that separate you from that goal. So you focus on problems always when you're practicing, and that's what practicing is. It means shining a light on the dark areas and the uncharted territory in your area of expertise. So you want to be a jazz drummer, you can't swing, big problem. Problem number one. Weakness number one, I can't swing. Weakness number two, I don't know any jazz songs, repertoire. I've not listened to much jazz or whatever. Weakness number three, I can't play brushes, and so on. Weakness number four, I'm always too loud. My dynamics are terrible. Okay, so if you're honest with yourself or have a good teacher, then you can easily determine what the weaknesses are. And then you make a long list of weaknesses that separate you from your goal, and you work down that list of weaknesses. And that's what practicing is. It means eliminating weaknesses in your playing. When you've had a long list of weaknesses and you keep eliminating weaknesses at the bottom of the list, you have no more weaknesses, which means you've developed strength, not weakness. And that is what gets you to that goal. Competence, control, um, experience, and so on. And that's what you gain through or by working through that list. Now, and goals can be different. You maybe you want to be a metal drummer. Different goals. You're not going to want to practice brushes today. Maybe you want to practice double bass drums. So different short-term goals to get to your long-term goal. Okay. Now, and this is important. You set your goal. You know where you want to go. You've defined that. That's really, really important. And then you look at where you are today. Let's say this is position A, and you want to be B, better, your goal. Okay, in the future. What do you need to get from A to B? Your vehicle, and we're not talking, think about sort of, metaphorically, let's think about a journey, okay? Because this is what learning an instrument or anything else is. It's a journey. And you're at point A, you want to get to point B. What are the things you need? Of course, you need a vehicle. In our case, it's music, it's drums. That's what gets us from A to B. That gets us not only to specific musical goals, but also life goals. If you have the ambition to become a professional musician or a professional athlete, or I don't know, lawyer, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, same approach. You always need a plan to get from A to B. Whatever it is that you're doing and you want to achieve, they're all basically the same goals. You just need a plan. How do I get from A to B? And that is practicing and connecting with other people, networking, etc. But you have to develop true competence and control over your instrument, and gain experience, etc. You That happens through practicing, and your goal also defines what you're practicing every single day. So once you've decided where you want to go, once you've created a plan how to get from A to B, that plan is your practice routine. Okay, and it changes and develops over time, all the time, but it always must relate to your goal. Okay, so once you've defined the goal, you create a practice plan, and what you're practicing is dictated by your weaknesses. So if you want to be jazz drummer, you can't swing, you're gonna want to sit down and practice swing. Once you know exactly what your weakness is, it's easy to eliminate that weakness. Okay, all you have to do is be very honest with yourself, and hopefully have another teacher or more who remind you that you need to do specific work on specific areas of your playing, and help you along with practice routines, etc. So the goal determines what you're practicing, and then you have to be disciplined and put in the time. And I'm sure you all know the 10,000-hour rule, and um, there's a bunch of great books about efficiency, about how to be disciplined, how to stay organized when you're practicing or training something. And yes, it takes a minimum of 10,000 hours to get to that point where you're considered a professional in any area of expertise. And in music, it's much, much more than that. There's a lot of musicians out there, world-class players who've played and practiced for 60, 70 or more thousand hours. So a lot of experience, a lot of discipline, and that really gets you often way past your goal. So create a practice plan for yourself. Define your goal, define your weaknesses, and then work on eliminating those weaknesses on a daily basis. If you have an hour, then it's a good idea to subdivide your practice time into 3 segments, not more. It's enough to work on 3 weaknesses at a time. Don't sort of stress yourself out and confuse yourself by trying to tackle too many problems at the same time. Focus on the most important ones and work your way down that list. Don't jump around in your list of weaknesses. Stay focused, stay organized, and disciplined. If you want to work on hand technique, or you feel like your rudimental control is not where it should be, or your timing is bad, or you have no sort of creative concepts to work with, and you feel like you're lacking ideas and imaginations, those are very specific things you can practice. Focus just on 3 problems at a time. It helps you stay organized, it helps you stay focused and efficient in your practice. For example, if you want to work on the technique, rudiments are great ideas for hand technique, and you practice rudiments. Anything that's in the standard rudimental books, single strokes, double strokes, open roughs, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever strokes, mixed sticking exercises, all that kind of stuff. Very, very simple things. And the flow of these exercises already exists. All you have to do is go buy a book or look online. Like, how do I improve my hand technique? Answer rudiments. Where do I find rudiments? Google rudiments. You'll find everything online, or go to the next music store or Amazon and look for a book on hand rudiments to improve your hand speed and control. Very simple. And of course, we all know that it's, singles and single stroke rolls. You can orchestrate that on the whole kit. In different phrasings, triplets, sextuplets, quintuplets, whatever you want. Septuplets. That's a septuplet. Practice hand rudiments, paradiddles. Those are paradiddles. Or double paradiddles, or paradiddle diddles. And in case you don't know, every rudiment has a phonetic name. They all describe the pattern you're playing phonetically. Pa or ra is always either a right or left hand. Pa, ra, diddle is always a double stroke. And then it flips around and you play an inversion of that pattern, leading with the other hand. Again, pa, ra, and diddle. So that's a paradiddle. And rudiments are designed in a way that allows you to work out both hands equally, always. Every rudiment is basically symmetrical, you know? So a double paradiddle is double paradiddle, double paradiddle. And a paradiddle diddle is again right, left, double, double, paradiddle diddle. Okay, and you can take rudiments as a really solid foundation of everything you're building creatively. The reason why we practice rudiments, for example, is because there's nothing you can play on the drums that cannot be broken down into rudiments, into basic small building blocks. So it's like math, you know, or the alphabet. You know, everything consists of letters. The longest story is all just letters, you know, which you combine to build syllables, words, sentences, and stories. Same with drumming and rudiments. These are all just letters. Any rudiment is just a letter. A flam, you know, single strokes, a ruff, a paradiddle, and then you put it together, you know, and you get a little pattern, a little sentence. So anyways, when you're practicing and you find my hands are weak or my feet are weak, to focus on that. One of the three things you practice every day should be then whatever that weakness is. Hand technique. Second chapter of your daily practice could be foot technique. The third chapter and the third topic that you're covering every day could be independence or groove playing or styles of music or whatever, world music or reading, whatever it is, whatever your weakness is, subdivide your time into three large chapters and then tackle each individually and stay focused, persistent, practice every day, and remember the practice rules. Okay, there are very simple practice rules. For example, rule number one, never play when you practice, never practice when you play, you know? And what does that mean? It means that when you're practicing something, don't lose focus and concentration and drift off just jamming and playing, because that's not practicing. Jamming and playing means executing something you've already practiced. At, at the highest level of technique, jamming and experimenting is the most exciting thing because it's almost like a stream of consciousness. You're just improvising, you're playing, you're going places in your imagination and exploring options. But at a lower level of technical proficiency, playing is just stroking your ego, doing something that you've already learned that feels comfortable, makes you feel good, and is not a lot of work. Okay. And yes, that's fun, but that's playing, that's not practicing. And that's really important to remember when you're practicing. When you practice and you want to learn a pattern, stick with that pattern and you sort of allocate a certain amount of time and stay there. Don't move. Just keep doing that. Start slow, build it up. Listen to yourself, analyze movement, look at your hands, film yourself, record yourself, analyze it. What can I improve? Is it slick? Does it sound good? Is it precise? Do I have dynamic control? So, you know, when you're practicing, stay focused on the exercise. Okay. When I play an exercise, whatever it is, for example, like a whatever, let's say I take a 5-stroke roll, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I orchestrate it on the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, left, right, left, right. Then I'll play an inversion and I'll play left, right, left, right, left. And I just want to practice this. I'll show you the head camera. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what I want to practice. Nothing else. I just want to learn to play orchestrations of 5-stroke rolls. So just do that. exercise. Don't drift off. If you want to add to it, great. Keep time with your feet while you're doing this. For example, like this. That's good. Or if you want to add a few more notes to it, add some bass drums. I'm adding 3 bass drums at the end. That's a good, fun little lick that you can play. But I'm still practicing 5-stroke rolls. I just keep it interesting for myself. I can orchestrate it in different ways, using different drums, like, using the floor toms in this case, or still all just 5-stroke rolls. So I focus on the one thing I need to learn and then keep it interesting for myself, develop it, orchestrate the pattern differently, but always focus on the sticking, the control, precision, and everything else. So let's get back to the practicing thing. So you focus, practice rule, never play when you practice, never practice when you play. Here's a fun example. How are we doing for time, Rachel?
I was just going to give you, we have like about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll have to move on to our 3 young students.
Perfect. Then, just to illustrate again, focus is the most important thing when you practice. Allocate time for playing. That's something separate. It's a different mindset. Practicing is methodical, repetitive, hard work, often boring and tedious, especially when it's technical. But it's necessary. And then there's playing. The mindset it's experimental, it's interactive, it's with other musicians. You don't focus on yourself, you focus on everybody else. And that's a huge difference. When you're practicing, you always focus on yourself. You look at your hands, you listen to what you're doing, you record yourself. It's all about you, all day long. When you're playing, it's about the audience, it's about the other musicians. Completely different mindset. And you have to learn to switch between the two. And also, by yourself, you have to learn to play and not listen just to yourself, but play along with music, with other musicians, even by yourself. Just put on a record and play along the songs and imagine what it's like to perform with that band at that moment. And another thing, another practice rule is, for example, practice every day. Consistency is key. And as long as you can practice every day, the longer the better. The more time you have, if you have 6 hours, still just do 3 things, but 2 hours each. Okay. If you have 3 hours, do 3 things, 1 hour each. If you have 1 hour, do 3 things, 20 minutes each. That's important. Other practice rules, for example, are, again, practice every day. Never practice when you play. That's very important. So don't perform with the band and try to be interactive and put on a show for an audience and pull something off that you haven't practiced, because it's not going to work. You're not prepared. You've never done this. And as excited as you may get on stage, it's most likely not going to happen and sound good and make you feel bad. And that's going to affect your confidence and your motivation and everything else. So perform things that you've learned to play, that you feel comfortable with, that you feel confident about, that you've practiced. Okay. Or another rule is practice like you play. When you're practicing and you're by yourself in your practice room, imagine you're performing. Everything has to sound good. Everything has to feel good. It's a rule that can also be applied to sports and athletics. Imagine it's a game. Imagine it's a race. Give your best at all times, even if it's just you in a room and you and a metronome or whatever. Try to always play at your highest level. Execution has to be perfect. Sound has to be great. Accuracy, feel. Just pay attention to all those things, even if it's just practice. And then create a great practice environment for yourself. That's really important and motivating. It has to be sort of your refuge, your room that you love. You want to go to that practice room. Put up whatever you want, cool, inspirational posters, have whatever you need, whether it's Wi-Fi or in the computer, or a practice pad and your acoustic drums or electronic drums, whatever it is that you need that inspires you. that makes you want to return to that room and or your studio, create it, make it nice, make it look good and inviting and welcoming, so you want to go back there every day. And and then look for inspiration. That's really important for practice too. You know, there's different kinds of inspiration. It's internal inspiration, external inspiration, and motivation. um, and look for that. You know, internal could be, you know, something, you know, that's usually very, very strong. You know, why did you start playing music in the first place? What was it that inspired you in the first place? Was it a TV performance by, you know, somebody specific, or was it a local band, or your dad who played an instrument, or your grandma who sat with you when you were really young and played songs on a piano for you and you fell in love with music? Whatever it was, try to to embrace that feeling and that you know, initial inspiration, and work with that. And external inspiration you can easily find. It's, you just Google inspirational drum stuff on YouTube, and 5,000 results will come up, and you'll find something for sure. You can buy a CD. You know, you can watch a video of a great drummer and be inspired. You can go to a drum clinic like this one, or a drum camp, or meet with another drummer and say, "Hey, did you see anything cool drum wise lately?" All these things are easy to find. So keep looking for stuff and stay inspired, get new information, and then be disciplined, set goals, make a list of things you can't do, and just keep chewing away at that list, and keep eliminating your weaknesses. And believe me, from all my colleagues and friends and people I know, that's a system that really works. You know,
Lovely.
Rachel.
Yeah. There was one question that came in to me, and it's actually from a senior vocalist, Yeji. Yeji asked, "How can vocalists be more intentional with rhythm? Any advice for a
Absolutely.
vocalist wanting to practice?"
Yes, you know, it's so important for vocalists to learn to count. You know, I'm sure you all know that joke about, you know, how do you know there's a vocalist outside your door? The knocking speeds up, and she doesn't know the key to come in, or doesn't have the key to come in. Doesn't know the key, then knocking speeds up, or whatever. There's a lot of jokes about that, and it's true. You know, a lot of singers that I've worked with, you know, they often have issues with timing, or micro timing, or counting, and rely a lot on cues from band members about when to come in to a verse, or you know, certain parts of the song. And there's a lot of interesting exercises you can do as a vocalist, clapping and counting exercises. You know, obviously, as a vocalist, you don't have an instrument, which is, you know, your instrument is your voice. It's inside of your body, hence not an instrument. Um, so you have to use other, you know, things that don't require technique to play a performance. Clapping is one of them. So simple exercises, like for example, clapping a clave pattern, or singing it while you're counting. Okay, so for example, uh, I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a simple Rumba clave pattern. Okay, with there's eighth notes in there, there's quarter notes in there, and there's a dotted eighth note in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it may sound simple, but if you count precisely, you'll notice that on the one, you're counting and clapping at the same time. One, this one is a dotted eighth note later. So 1, 2. Now I'm clapping and counting in different places rhythmically. 1, 2. And there's an eighth note after the two. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the four, I'm tight again with my clapping. So I'm learning to coordinate and play and sing or count differently in, you know, different rhythms at different times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you have to be very precise, not to uh, kind of get just drawn into the rhythmic pattern with your counting, for not like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. It's not like that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just a very simple example, but there's tons of counting exercises like that. You can learn to play, you know, to clap groups of 5, or vice versa. You sing it and you clap in 4, or you clap in 3 and sing 5s over it. rhythmic phrases that are overlapping, and happening at the same time. You learn to sing independently from counting, yet always know where you are in the bar line or in the song. So, for example, you can do, for example, I'll sing a phrase in five, okay? Da da ga 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 da 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 ga 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 ga. So this is 5/16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or university, university. That's a group of five. Um, but I'm clapping in four, and you can do things like that where you stomp your feet, in say 4/4. 1, 3, 4. You can clap in 3/16. So this is a group is a dotted eighth note and a 16th note overlapping 3/4. You don't have to be a drummer to do this, by the way. Okay, you can snap your fingers or do whatever. But I'm just walking basically. Right foot, left foot, right foot. Here I'm going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I can at the same time count in five. Ga 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 ga. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple. But you can do a lot of those kind of counting and singing. And then, of course, you can sing melodically. You can sing in seven. If I just go something very simple. That's in seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so on. There's a lot of interesting things you can do, but we don't have the time. I hope these kind of give you some ideas and inspiration.
Lovely. Can we just, using the Zoom function, can we just all clap and thank Mr. Lang for his presentation? Yes, all of the claps. We are going to move on to something I've been looking forward to. Mr. Lang has looked at 3 student performances, as I mentioned at the beginning of this workshop. And we're actually going to start with our 7th grade middle school drummer. So let me just spotlight him real quick. Hank, feel free to unmute. And will you just introduce yourself, your name, your grade, and how long you've been in popular music?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Hank Braverman. I'm in 7th grade, and I've been in popular music for 1 year or less. And yeah.
Very cool. So, and how long have you been playing the drums?
Like
1 year only?
years.
How long have you been playing, Hank?
3 years. Can you hear me?
Oh, Thomas, it looks like we lost your microphone again. Nope.
Microphone?
Oh, there we go. Something just
Check,
happened.
check.
There we go.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hello? Check, check. I don't hear myself actually right now.
We hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, my apologies. I don't know. I think this goes in the machine. We have a bad cable from earlier. So, tell me, are you behind your drum set there? This looks like your music room.
Yeah, I'm on my electric kit right now.
Okay. Tell me what, did you hear what we were talking about in regards to practice?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what is your goal?
I guess my overall goal is to become like really creative at drums, and the genre that I'd like to pursue in drums is probably like math rock or like jazz.
Math, rock, and jazz. Good choices. Yes. So uh, clearly, you're into complex music. You're into control. You're into technique. Who are your favorite drummers?
I like Nathan Camarina, Matt Gartzka, Sarah Thoyer.
Hmm.
And then I like classics also, like John Bonham.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Now, if you want to be a math metal, which is a very complex kind of music,
Hmm.
clearly it involves really high end sort of 21st century drumming technique, both with hands and feet. Um, you need to be extremely sort of disciplined in your technical practice, you know, and um, it's a great goal to have because by learning that style of music, you could pretty much cover everything else. If you're into jazz and gent or math metal, you have no choice, but you have to explore everything. You know, jazz and jazz independence is all and sounding good as a jazz drum is all about control and creativity, and which is clearly what you want to work on, creativity. So I recommend to you that when you practice something and you get inspiration and you sound great, by the way, it's especially for 3.5 years, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. So you need to focus on precision first of all, um, because it's super important that every note has its place. If you, it's like a conversation. If you put your mouth on your microphone, you don't really know what I'm saying, and try to avoid mumbling when you're playing. Every note has to be super precise, has to have its own place and weight and duration. Okay, and as a drummer, it's often tricky because we don't play sustains. We don't hold a note like other musicians do. We can't, we're not a trombone. We don't go ba and hold a note and stop it. We just hit something and there it is. We don't expect the note to ring very long. So you have to pay attention to duration, the length of notes and placement of notes. That's really important. Um, is that an electronic kit you got there?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite linear lick that you're working on right now?
Hmm. Should I play it?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay. I like stuff where it's maybe like I like
Okay,
just
cool. That's a very classic group of three in 4/4 is a classic 3/4. I'll play it here, 3/4. You know, and especially with things like that, anything that's linear. Actually, I don't have to look at you. I look at you here. So anything that's linear, be note placement, and it's one thing I noticed you could improve on immediately is accuracy. Note placement is everything. 3/4, for example. Okay, so you want to put every group of three or every 60 note in that group of three always in the right place. 3/4. And then you split it up into a linear phrase. So always pay attention, especially to where you put the foot. I'll give you the foot, the four-way camera, so you can see it. And make sure that the dynamic balances between hands and feet are correct. Don't play one of the elements too loud when you're playing a linear phrase. Don't go. The right hand is, super loud, left hand and foot too quiet. Make sure that the dynamic proportions are correct. Correct. So that's that same lick, only faster. 3/4. So when you're bringing up the volume with the hands, also bring up the volume with the kick drum. Okay, so pay attention to those little details. Beat placement, dynamics, super important. Um, and of course, always timekeeping, especially when it's linear phrases where you're playing across the bar line, like groups of three, 3/4. Make sure that the notes are placed very evenly. Every note has its beginning and end point, um, and is played dynamically and with control. And I recommend, for you, if you're into that kind of music, work on linear stuff. Lots of linear phrases. singles, just keep time with your left foot, I'll play it on the crasher so you can hear it a little better, and play a lot of alternating single phrases. Just alternating singles, one foot, but played in different note rates. Okay, so these are 60 notes, 1 E ender, 2 E ender, 3 E ender, 4 E ender. Change to sticking with the hands, play paradiddles, for example, or play different note rates. Groups of 6, 3, 4. Or play note rate pyramids and timetable exercises. So from quarter notes to 30-second notes, like this, for example, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes, I'll just do right hand and right foot for now. 1, 1, 1, 1. Eighth notes, eighth note triplets, 60 notes, 1 E ender, 2 E ender, 3 E ender. Quintuplets, sextuplets, septuplets, and 30-second notes. Okay, then you do the same thing with the left hand. Singles, quarter notes, eighth notes, eighth note triplets, 16 notes, quintuplets, and all the way up to 30-second notes. 3, 4. Septuplets, sextuplets, and so on. And then mix them up. That helps you to find or to condition yourself to the correct spacing, being able to execute different note rates precisely split up between hands and feet. So you can then play this is all like quintuplets, sextuplets, but played deliberately and spaced very accurately and with intention. And that really helps to find, sort of your phrasing, and make everything sound weighty and deliberate, which is really important. You want to sound confident, and you want to sound like you always know exactly what you're doing before you're doing it. Okay. And then try to do that also with doubles, double strokes. Again, in all phrasings, you go, quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, eighth notes. Eighth note triplets and 60 notes. 1 E ender, 2 E ender, 3 E ender. Quintuplets. Sextuplets. Septuplets. And 30-second notes. Same thing with the left hand. And then mix it up, play both hands, play different phrasings, use doubles in different note rates in a sequence. Things like that. And always anchor everything down to a precise pulse and time with the left foot. And this is something that a lot of young drummers today completely neglect timekeeping with the left foot, because a lot of them play double bass drum and play just, question answer patterns like that, or groups of three, or whatever, groups of six. It's always alternating hands and feet, and very few drummers learn today, I've noticed, learn to keep time properly with their left foot while they're playing linear phrases with the rest of the kit. There's a ton of younger drummers and students I know and have that just can't do it. They never learned that level of independence in the beginning, which is a really basic thing to do as a drummer, to just keep time with your left foot in quarter notes, and then that's so important, in whatever tempo you're in, or whatever feel you're in triplets or in 6 notes. Slow tempo, I'll play 8 notes now. The timekeeping element always has to be there. That's also
Thomas, I'm so sorry. Just a heads up. It's 3:07, so
Oh.
I can maybe give you like another minute, and then
Yes.
we'll have to move on to our next person. But
Sounds good.
I don't want to interrupt you.
No, that's perfect. Please remind me. That's good. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. So,
I was gonna say any last minute things just for Hank in the last minute with him before I move on to our next person. It's all really great feedback.
no, then let's move on then. I hope this was helpful.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Hank. Let me remove
Thanks, Hank.
it. Thomas Murray, are you with us? Are you in a good place?
Yes, I'm at. Wait, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you. I'm gonna spotlight you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in a good place.
Okay, will you introduce yourself, name, grade, how long you've been a part of our program, and how long you've played drums?
Okay. My name is Thomas Murray. I'm a junior, and I've been in this program since I was a freshman. So this is my 3rd year, and I've been playing drums for 7 years.
7 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. I've just lost my Zoom feed here. Let me just.
And Thomas, if it's possible to take those goggles off just so we can see
Yeah.
your wonderful
for sure.
face, that would be wonderful. Yeah, just so he can see you. Okay.
It's just a little bright. My bad.
So yeah, this is our junior, Thomas.
Where are you guys?
I'm at the top of Snowbird in Utah.
Oh, wow. Cool. That is awesome. Okay, are you snowboarding or skiing?
I'm snowboarding.
Okay, cool. So, who are your favorite drummers?
My favorite drummers, lots of jazz / like funk drummers. So David Garibaldi, Dave Weckl, Steve Gadd. I'm studying Bill Bruford right now.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
more progressive stuff also.
Yeah, prog.
Okay. It's kind of hard for me to hear you.
Yeah.
But can you say something?
Yeah.
I've got a really weird interference here.
Can you hear me?
Can you say that again?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you. So clearly, you're quite advanced already technically. Did you go to like drum corps? Like
Did I go where?
Hello, check. 1, 2.
Sorry, what was that?
If you ever did drum corps or marching
No, I
these
didn't.
drums? Okay.
I didn't.
So, do you think that your, hand stuff is development technically where it should be?
I mean, I'm still gonna practice, but yeah, I think I'm pretty developed in the hands. So yeah.
Is lacking in your playing in regards to? Do you feel like Hank mentioned that he wants to go for creative? He thinks he lacks a little bit in creativity. What do you think your biggest weakness is?
I think my biggest weakness is probably playing between the hands and feet, linearly.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you some linear ideas. Okay. Do you do you keep are you comfortable keeping time with your left foot when you're playing and playing
Yeah.
pieces with the right kit?
Yeah, I do that pretty much every time I play through a fill or just in
Exactly.
songs. Yeah.
Now, for you, it may be interesting to play linear phrases that don't involve the left foot timekeeping, where you internalize the time and your internal click, but use the
Hmm.
left foot incorporated into your linear phrases.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you have a double bass drum pedal, but we can
Yes,
do
I
this
do.
also. Yeah, we can also do this on a hi hat. You know.
Yeah.
So I'll give you some ideas how to involve your left foot more in linear phrases, both with timekeeping and without. And that is really sort of a very advanced way of playing linear phrases um, when you can involve the left foot into the rhythmic pattern, but also just keep time and switch back and forth between the two concepts. Okay,
Okay.
so I'll give you some ideas and examples.
All
So
right. Thank you.
um, let's start with linear phrases. Let's take just singles again. I'll keep time with my left foot on the crasher. I'll show you here. I'll keep time here and play singles between right foot and hands. That's easy. But for you, I want you to play time and then switch out of the quarter note timekeeping into offbeat 16th notes like this. 2, 3, 4. So here I'm playing the E's and R's, 1 E and 2 E and with my left foot. And now I'm keeping time with the left foot. 2, 3, 4. Those kind of things, are important for you to learn. To switch from timekeeping function to more involved pattern playing with the left foot. And you can practice a lot of cool linear phrases that bounce between kick drum and left foot. For example, I play the left foot on this foot snare drum, so it's easier to hear. So right, 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 4 strokes with the right hand and left and right foot, and then left hand and left foot. Okay. These are 6 septuplets. Or 30-second notes. You know, 8 30-second notes and 4 60 notes. Okay. Or groups of 3, right, left, kick. And then left, right, left kick. You know, or right, left, kick, left, right, left kick. Or 1 bar of right, left, right kick. And then right, left kick. You know, and switching back and forth. And then maybe right, kick, left, left kick. For one by each. It's like this. You know? Or you can play, these are just triplet based phrases. Any other phrasing groups of 4, right, left, very simple. Quads. Or you can play right, left, kick, and then right, left, kick. You know, or right, left kick with the right foot, and then right, left foot. Or left, right kick, left, left kick. And then switch between the two. You know, or any other kind of more, any other pattern that involves the left foot within the pattern, as single strokes, as double strokes. It could be a triplet or a sextuplet or whatever kind of grouping, but try to involve the left foot more and switch in and out of timekeeping function to pattern playing function with the left foot. That'll really put your independence to a different level.
Thomas, just heads up, you got about 1 more minute.
Okay.
1 more minute.
Wow, time flies, doesn't it?
I know.
And learn to play double strokes with your left foot, okay? So on your double pedal, that's really important. Here's double strokes. Just like with your hands, like a 10-stroke roll. Learn to play those kind of things with your feet too. Groups of 3 with the left foot, for example, like dig-a-ding, 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 dig-a-ding. And shuffles with the left foot. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Those kind of things to build up left foot power and strength, and then involve it. Imagine your left foot is just another right hand, and whatever the right hand is doing, try to play those parts of a pattern also with your left foot. If the right hand goes, then make the left foot go. Same thing. If the right hand goes, then also go, and work that left foot in as much as you can. It also helps with snowboarding, left foot strength.
Thomas Murray, you have any final questions for Mr. Lang?
Not a question, but everything you did was just amazing. I respect that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll enjoy the rest of the day up on the mountain.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks for doing this while still being out of town.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Thomas, to end, we actually are going to end with our senior Thomas Lowry. So let me add my spotlight here. Thomas Lowry, you want to just introduce yourself, how long you've been a part of the program, how long you've played drums, and then just your overall goal, especially because you're about to graduate.
Absolutely. Well, hello, Thomas. My name is Thomas. I'm
Good
a senior
name.
at
Hey,
Lawrence County
Thomas.
School of the Arts. I've been here for 4 years, since I was a freshman. And I've been playing drums since before I could reach the pedals, because my dad played drums and I kind of just wanted to do what he did. And
Right.
but I've been taking formal lessons since I was 6.
Wow, that's amazing. And you sound incredible. Is that your studio?
Yes. Welcome.
Oh, look at that. Very cool. Oh,
Very cool.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, clearly, obviously, you sound amazing and clearly, super accomplished. Did you take lessons with your dad?
I did some work with my dad, but he wasn't a professional drummer. He played more as a hobby.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's taught me how to play double strokes, and we would sit in my room together. I remember, and it was always I really loved sound sources. It was always just fun for me, and I never had to be told to you got to practice
Right.
to play. Uh, yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. I mean, what you're clearly into, rock and heavier music, and who are your favorite bands? Like Foo Fighters?
I listened to a lot of like Van Halen. I grew up with a lot of Kiss and Motley Crue and
Okay, like
Performers.
classic glam metal and glam rock.
Yeah, yeah, and I started trying to expand my knowledge and listen to music from around the world. But I always come back to those are my roots of
Right.
rock and hard rock.
Yes. Very cool. Um, Tell me what you think is needs improvement in your playing.
Well,
Because
lately,
I mean, from seeing you play, it's all good. I mean, but you're playing something you're very comfortable with.
yeah. Well, the funny thing is even with the song that I played for you, I was working on consistency a lot because I'm open-handed naturally, and I always found a weakness where when it would come like normal beats, I'd lead with my left, and then when it would come to 16th notes on the hi-hat with two hands, I would always feel like my snare was lacking and weak because I'd have to like reach around here.
Yeah.
So I was working on like how would I play to keep my snare consistent and pop. And so for a lot of that, I was working on that, like doing paradiddles to keep my left hand consistent, like
Yeah.
just like that, so I could keep my snare consistent.
Hmm.
So lately, I've
That's
been working on stuff like that, and also reading because
yeah, that's important.
for a lot of my youth, and still I learn all songs by ear,
Okay.
which is good to learn stuff by ear. But if somebody puts a chart in front of me, instantaneously I want to be able to read
Right.
it and interpret it
Yeah.
quickly because as of now I'm most comfortable when I could sit on it for a day
Right.
and like all that. So
Yeah, it should be like the newspaper. You should be able to read a chart at the moment you get it,
absolutely.
especially when you want to sort of move into maybe recording sessions and working professionally. Reading is one of the most important things
Hmm.
because it saves a lot of unnecessary and labor intensive and time consuming verbal conversations. If you
Yeah.
can just write something down and you go, well, there it is. It's very
Yeah.
simple. Um, okay. So yeah, I mean, the reading is something that also comes with experience, and of course, often you'll feel pressure when you go into a situation you practice with a band or orchestra or something, and somebody throws a chart in front of you. There is that element of like, ooh, you know, will I be able to, pull this off, or am I going to embarrass myself in front of these other, 20 guys who can
Yeah.
probably read better than me? But that goes away. You just have to do it frequently, and
Yeah.
and stay focused. A lot of people get distracted by sort of feeling embarrassed when they make a mistake when they're reading a chart, and then it becomes a string of mistakes. So
Hmm.
if you make a mistake reading a chart, the most important thing is if you don't catch a certain accent or a specific phrase, let it go. It's gone. It was a moment in time. It's now gone. You're now in the next bar. Don't
Yeah.
linger on that. That's really important to learn, that you just constantly move on and know where you are all the time, and
Absolutely.
always read ahead rather than behind. And that's a mistake a lot of musicians make, that they made a mistake, so they go back to that bar where they skipped that one phrase
Yeah.
and lose the flow of the chart immediately and
Absolutely.
don't find their way back in. So even if you make a mistake, just carry on reading. It's now gone, and read ahead rather than go back to like, oh, what mistake was that?
Yeah.
So, just a little advice. Anyways, but let's get back into the thing you said about the consistency and your left hand on the snare drum, for example. Are you naturally left-handed?
Yeah, I'm naturally left-handed.
Okay, so you also play right on the left?
Yes.
You don't. You do?
Yeah.
Because you have a right there on the but I don't see the right symbol there. Okay. But you also have a right on the right.
This is just a crash, but I've used it as a ride too.
Oh, okay. So, in terms of that, consistency in your backbeat, for example, yes, that's what you do. You learn to use stickings to make playing easier. I'm playing a left-handed paradiddle. Left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. That's how you play a cool 60-note pattern on the hi-hat. It's very simple. You just start with the left hand. For you, that's something very natural, and there's different kinds of, stickings you can use to make a pattern like this work and make the snare really consistent. This, like bringing the stick over and playing all singles is weird. I mean, this is also weird to play, with hands like this for a drummer. This is the dumbest thing we came up with. But anyways, so, what you're doing is actually, in terms of ergonomics and reason, it's the right thing to do. You start with the left hand. And when you then play fills, whatever, you also use stickings to get around the kit comfortably. I use a ton of stickings. And one of my favorite things to do is just, wherever you play a double in your sticking, you switch the hands around. So if I play constant singles, and I put one double wherever it is, automatically I'm leading with the other hand on the next note. So, so singles, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm leading with the left hand. That's a really easy way to get around the kit, especially when you play, big fills, many toms. Like you have, I think, 5 toms, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So 3 up, 2 down.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same setup I have here. That's perfect. So just to show you, to get around the kit and make it playing more consistent and more deliberate, try this exercise. Throw in doubles, like this. All singles. And here I put in a double on the floor tom. So on the lowest drum, I put in a double in the right hand, which means I lead with the left hand going up. And on the highest tom, I play a double with the left hand.
Yeah.
And automatically I'm switching. And you can put the double on the snare, like, or, and here I'm playing left, right, left, right, left, right, left, 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 right, right, okay? And then a repetitive phrase like that allows you to play very consistent, even patterns that are comfortable in any phrasing or grouping. Like, for example, let's choose septuplets,
Yeah.
That's a septuplet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Can you try that on your kit?
Yeah.
You start on the floor tom and play one septuplet up the toms, and the next one starts with the left hand on the highest tom, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.
So, starting with the right.
Yeah, starting on the right on the lowest floor tom. Very good. Try that again. But you're playing it at 60 notes. You're doing this.
Oh, yeah.
playing a. That's good. Now anchor it to a signature. Play time with that. Maybe play not 60 notes but septuplets. Have you ever played a septuplet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, yeah, but not in 60 notes. Not you know,
Yeah.
but you play so 3, 4. Each one of those is 7 notes long. And then you go. So up the toms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very good. And don't be afraid to use, odd groupings. To me, odd groupings like 5, 7, 3s always make more sense than sort of the duplet, even groupings.
Yeah.
And especially if you look at music around the world, odd groupings are much more popular in other places than in the Western sort of music scene.
Yeah.
And odd groupings are really hip, like a triplet. That's a great feeling pattern.
Yeah.
Or to me, that feels great.
Yeah.
Or any kind of shuffle feel or even swing always feels great. And even 5s feel great to me.
Thomas, I'm so sorry to interrupt. It's 3:33, so I need to let some of my students out for their afternoon rehearsals.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stop this because I feel like you guys are just getting into the good stuff. So,
Yeah.
students, could we please just thank Mr. Lang for coming and being with us this afternoon? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of clapping in the chat.
Thanks, Hank.
If you need to head out, students, you may, but Mr. Hammy, if you'd like to make me the host, I'm gonna just stay on for another like 5-10 minutes just to let Thomas and Thomas work with each other a little bit longer. So if you want to make me the host, that'd be great. Again, if you want to stay on, students, and kind of watch, feel free. If not, we will see each other next week. And again, huge thanks again to Thomas Lang for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks
And
for
feel
being
free to
with me,
leave a
guys.
thank you in the chat as well, everyone. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm the host now. Feel free, gentlemen, keep going what you were doing, and
Yeah, no,
I'll
I'll
stop
just-
you at around like 3:40, 3:45.
Okay, I'll just carry on. This is still relating to consistency and the stickings that help us to sound consistent. So the groups of 5, again, that's an odd grouping, but the cool things about any kind of odd grouping is it always bounces from right to left hand, which forces us to practice both hands and lead with both hands, always switching back and forth, which allows us to develop more consistency in our playing, more sort of equal level of skill with both hands. And that's why I like, for example, 7s or 9s or 5s, because that's like a group of 3. It always bounces from right to left. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Triplets, Quintuplets. To me, that feels great. It's like walking.
I remember
Or right, left, right, left.
yeah, the first
And when you play beats in quintuplets, to me that feels cool, just like a triplet. And practicing those kind of things helped me really develop a really good sort of left hand facility and the ability to play more ambidextrously,
Yeah.
and lead with both hands always.
Yeah. I
Maybe
remember
try. What's that?
when I first started drumming and watching drums or drummers. Uh, One of my favorite things ever was Peter Criss's solo in '76 was all triplet based. And looking back, it's timeless because it's simple, but it was the first thing that I learned that was just watching that, and he goes on for 10 minutes,
Right.
doesn't stop, doesn't want to stop, and that was my first thing where I'm like, I want to do that.
Right.
And so, yeah, you mentioning the subdivisions, how like fun and natural they are, and the switching,
Absolutely.
the sticking.
Yeah. And
It's awesome.
if you look at sort of music history and do some research into rhythms and ritual, there's some fantastic books out there. The triplet simulates a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's always a triplet feel.
Yeah.
So we have this sort of a interesting sort of primal connection to odd groupings, and every odd grouping has a middle, which even groupings don't have. Quintuplets is the 3, 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2, and not playing the rhythmic center of an odd grouping like in Africa creates really interesting, cool feels. And a lot of people think that's a triplet, but it's not. It's a quintuplet. It's 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2. And those kind of odd groupings to me always felt like super interesting. And so much more sophisticated than anything even.
Yeah.
So I always liked playing odd groupings, triplets, anything in triplet feels like that tribal thing you just played. Those are super fun things to play because they feel so natural, so tribal and primal.
Yeah.
And to me, again, quintuplets, septuplets, groups of 9 are all like that, and I use them all the time, and they really help me with understanding mixed stickings and consistency because you lead with both hands always.
Yeah.
Maybe try to get into these exercises.
Yeah,
Quintuplet
absolutely.
grooves, like this. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. So the quintuplet starts on the right hand on the 1, and on the left hand on the 2, and 3 and 4, same thing. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 alternating exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Jacob Collier who described like these odd groupings rolling like an egg. So it's not like a machine, like a robot. They have that natural swank to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To me, they all have a middle, and that makes it. To me, they're more centered. They don't sound sort of edgy. To me, like it's a round shape, not a square shape. To me, like a group of 4/16 is like a square, like a cube. You're trying to roll down the road. It's all like a machine,
Yeah.
But a group of 5 or 3 is like a wheel, It's round to me, and it comes around right, left, top, bottom, day, night, black, white. It's, always like moving contrast, and has an inherent sort of cycle in it. to me, a group of four, is weird because it can only be divided into twos or multiples of itself or twos, and it's all very chunky. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's just, I
And
agree with Collier on that.
it's kind of
It's
like kind of robotronic. And
absolutely
even when they analyzed like beats that are like play this drunk, and it's like a quintuplet bass thing. And it's kind of doing that, and then people are like trying to hyperanalyze and what is this? What is this?
right.
As we do, as we want to learn. And okay, that's quintuplet based. And then they're like, "How did you come up with that?" Oh well, the engineer asked me to play drunk.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just stuff like that where it's like, it's not so perfect, and it's really, I love it. I got
Right. I
a
think
bunch
it's
of-
more perfect even than anything so basic as 16th notes or sextuplets. To me, a quintuplet or triplet or septuplet groove is much more sophisticated and much deeper and has much more options, because you have that one extra note you can do a lot of stuff with, and place like subdivisions in different places of the quintuplet. For example, quintuplet groove like. Especially if you look at it, with the feet also. Sorry, camera just dropped out. If you play groups of two with the right foot, or three basically, in quintuplets. You know that 3/5 overlap, which returns after 15, 16 notes in a cycle, is something really sophisticated, quite complex, and I think so much more interesting than fours or sixes that are so traditional. But
Yeah.
anyways, I want to show you a couple more exercises.
Okay.
Try to play more odd groupings in your even patterns. Okay?
Okay.
Can you, just like you did earlier, you played a group of 7 as 60 notes. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Try to play things like that, groups of 5s, 7s, 9s, 11s as fills and in grooves. Can you play a 5 over like a 5/16 over 4/4 with like the
So-
right hand like this? 2, 3, 4. Exactly. Now try to play a fill in 5/16, overlapping, but a 60 notes like this. 3, 4. Very good. Now try a 7, like a 5-stroke roll with 2 kick drums. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, and then as a 2-bar fill with a 3, 4.
That's one of those ones you got to work with the hi-hat on.
Yes, always.
Yeah, absolutely.
if you then keep, learn to keep time with the left foot. You know.
I keep wanting to add an extra note to
Yeah.
the extra note. Yeah.
It's about like 2 more minutes. Just a heads up, about 2 more minutes.
Okay. Try to stay away from cliches like, or they're a little old, a little lame. Try to, when you play a group of 9, it's easy to learn stuff that way. Absolutely. So when you're trying to coordinate the hi-hat, you go, that's great.
Yeah.
But when you then actually play it, try to kind of stay away from that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, kind of phrasing. But try that just to expand from here. Try groups of 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 to play like this, like descending or ascending. So descending as in down the toms, because that's more interesting than, a little more interesting than ding dong dong, ding dong dong. At least it goes in a weird cycle, and then go up, leading with the left hand. 3, 4, 3, 4. Or and do the same with 9s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4. And then 11, just expand always by 2 notes or so, and then start playing sequences of 5, 3, 9, 11, 3, 7, 5, 11, over 4, 4. And do both. Descending, leading with the right hand, and ascending up the toms, leading with the left hand, crashing with the left also in the next one. That really helps with consistency, and it builds vocabulary, for your playing, and gets you out of those kind of cliche odd groupings too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, thank you, Rachel.
Thomas, thank you so much for staying late and digging in with our senior. He's our only senior drummer this year too, so this was really special.